Mr. Investor Lot, welcome back to the channel, baby. And today we're going to be going on a little journey. We're going to be talking about bio-nanogenomics, Cytopia. We're going to be going to Hogwarts. Hagrid. Actually, guys, we'll be going to Cambridge, where the homies play polo on horses. So we're going to be taking a look at the WELLCOME SANGER Institute. This is one of our clients and customers. And I'll be saying howdy, welcome to the WELLCOME Genome Campus, where all the magic in the UK is going down. So we'll be listening to the answers from Adrian Ibrahim and talking about this UK genomic revolution. If you're new around here, welcome to the channel. My name is Miguel and I look for the biggest, the juiciest stocks. If you're able to support the channel, please click the join button, join any tier at all. But if you're unable to, just you hitting the like and clicking subscribe is enough for me. Thank you so much for your love and support, and always remember, none of this is financial advice, it's for entertainment only. So the WELLCOME SANGER Institute, you guys may have seen this before in my videos. If you go onto their website, you'll see that they use Pacific Biosciences, Oxford Nanopore Technologies, and they're using bio-nanogenomics as well as 10x Genomics. So if you go to the WELLCOME SANGER Institute's website, you'll see that they lead and support many multinational, multi-center research collaborations from around the world. This can be anything from the African Genome Variation Project to C19 studies with COG UK, the Darwin Tree of Life project. There's so many different collaborations and projects they're currently working on. And recently, this article was published by Pharmaceutical Technology. You can search this up. This was on the 9th of August 2021. And what they did was they actually spoke to a member of the WELLCOME SANGER Institute. His name is Adrian Ibrahim, known as the Head of Innovation at the Sanger Institute. And his role actually involves Head of Business Development and Technology Transfer. He is also part of the Bioindustry Association. He is the chair of the Genomics Advisory Committee. And he was talking about the genomic revolution here in the UK. What was really interesting was talking about the future of the UK and the future of the genomic sector here, and how its potential can be harnessed for discovery and development of new therapies. So he was actually interviewed on this platform called pharmaceuticaltechnology.com. I believe this is the person who interviewed him, Darcy Jimenez. She's a journalist and a healthcare reporter. So the first question that Darcy asked Adrian was, how are UK drug developers and preclinical researchers using genomics to drive more efficient drug discovery processes? Ibrahim spoke of drug developers having a lot more data to work with and computing. It's able to actually interpret this stuff and has kept pace. It's one thing having data, but it's a very different thing being able to use it. But that capability is here also. So he went on to speak about CRISPR and genetic editing. Then you look at some of the key technologies that have driven more functional studies, which are so important to pharma and drug discovery. CRISPR, genetic editing, is now mature as a technology, but what has happened more recently is very large-scale application of CRISPR. If I take the most mature sector where this is being applied, which is oncology, cancer, we now have thousands of models that we can get multi-omic data for. We can use genetic tools like CRISPR across the entire genome to go gene by gene across hundreds and thousands of models, and also in parallel with treating them with drugs. You start to get specific correlations between certain genetic backgrounds, certain drug responses, due to the fact you're carrying it out on a systematic basis. So he said that he thinks that target identification and target prioritization is probably the most key area we've seen massive advantages recently in applications for drug discovery. Do you remember that study that came out in February? It was from the University Tel Aviv in Israel. So it was Dr. Yoval Ebenstein, and he was talking about optical genome mapping, but this is what really struck for me. He spoke of this new avenue for complex disease-specific epigenetic biomarkers. This study can be dramatic for early cancer diagnostics, where normal and cancer cells have a very similar genetic background, but the extreme changes in enhancer methylation distinguish the cancer cells. When he spoke about the use, he said that this data may for the first time allow us to discover new biomarkers and point to novel drug targets in place of the genome where no one has looked before. So Adrian Ibrahim spoke about drug developers. He said that, it's going to be applied genetic editing, particularly in oncology. Then he spoke about correlations between genetic backgrounds, certain drug responses. So he said that the key areas are target identification and target prioritization. How much would Big Pharma be willing to pay to discover these new biomarkers where they can develop new drugs? And how much would CRISPR technologies be willing to pay to also find this information? Then Lady DJ asked, do you think the NHS is a vital advantage for the UK in terms of partnering on key projects and validating new technologies and treatments? Do you think the private sector collaborates enough with the NHS groups and trusts? For those of you that don't know, the NHS is the National Health Service here in the UK, and this kind of ties into King's College. When King's College adopted the Sapphire, this is a big NHS hospital. So Adrian is saying that it's actually a huge advantage if you're able to get your machine into the NHS and work and partner on key projects, right? Adrian is saying that they engage with some companies, but it's the responsibility of the company. It's on them to go and be creative, go to the NHS with credible evidence base for their technology offerings. This is what we've done, and we've actually got one of the biggest hospitals to adopt the Sapphire here in London. And with King's College Hospital, they have patients that come from all across the world. They come down to London because of the skill, compassion of the people, but the reputation as pioneers in medical research. Do you guys remember Illumina invested in Grail? And if we're talking about Grail, they will be engaging with the NHS. And this is because Grail is developing technologies to potentially spot quite a large number of diverse cancers at an early stage. The NHS is one of the largest united healthcare systems in the world. And Adrian has said that absolutely world-leading genomics is here in the UK. It's always been the case. There are lots of different collaborations going on, like Genomics England. One of the major projects that the WELLCOME SANGER Institute was working on was within C19. So they actually had the C19 Genomics UK Consortium. They worked very closely with the government during the pandemic. And where this interview was taking place, he said, literally where I'm sat now, I'm looking across the building where more than half the world's C19 whole genome sequences have been done in recent months. For the UK to be able to do more than the rest of the world combined, I think it's phenomenal. He also speaks that there is many opportunities for diagnostic providers, and Darcy asked him what areas of genomic medicine are looking particularly promising over the next few years. It's something that bionanogenomics focuses on here. He said cancer is often regarded as the leader because cancer by definition is disease characterized by genetic instability. Here he's stating that a lot more powerful high throughput tools have been applied in the setting of cancer to identify new cancer targets, to stratify patients for specific therapeutics developed against those targets. That's an area we're going to see a lot of benefit from. He's talking about precision medicine, genomic medicine. The next one, which we also focus on, is rare diseases. If you go back 10 years, among thousands of children born every year in the UK alone with undiagnosed developmental disorders, the diagnostic rate back then was about 1 to 3%. And just to make it clear, it would take something in order of 9 years and 60 plus appointments to get that diagnosis alone. Another very good acquisition by us means that our providers are able to help accelerate diagnosis for people who are looking to find the diagnosis for genetic disease. I remember I used to look after kids who had autism. They believed that his younger brother had developmental delay, but they could not get a diagnosis unless they went private and spent thousands of pounds. So they waited for the NHS to get diagnosis, and it took something like 2 years or 3 years in order to get it. So all the meantime, he was forced to go to a public school, and they didn't have the right tools in order to stimulate him, in order to help him with his difficulties and his needs. But once he gets the diagnosis, he then gets the funding, or he gets approval for him to be able to attend a specialist school. He's able to then get benefits as well, disability benefits. So back to what Adrian was saying, he said, so now we have a very comprehensive and world-leading genomics capability in sequencing the genomes of all these children born in the UK. We have a far better ability to diagnose these children, moving from 1 to 3%, which is so low, to 50+%. We can actually understand what's driving these. Then he said the next stage of it is actually you get these large amounts of data, you start to make inferences about therapeutic targets, and then you can start to think about how you can treat some of these patients. So Darcy asked him, what are the barriers? What challenges still need to be overcome to maximize the medical potential of genomics in the future? And how can the pharma sector contribute to solving these issues? Adrian just stated, linking up all the information and actually be coordination. That's one of the biggest issues, getting everybody linked up across all the foundation data sets, the infrastructure, the NHS, the translational academic work, the small companies and the big ones. And then also getting that government funding, getting those streams going, as well as getting linked up and consistent across all of those is challenge number one. Darcy then asked him about looking into the future, the bigger picture. When we see how far the genomics field has come in the UK between 2000s and 2020, the progress has been incredible. How do you envision genomics being integrated within healthcare provision and drug development in the next 20 years? Adrian stated that in the last 5 to 6 years, it's been phenomenal, truly phenomenal. It was something that not anyone could have foreseen. The rate of innovation will continue to increase. So what does that mean? It means that whatever we think will be the future, it will be more impressive, and that people will benefit more from the application of genomic technologies than we can imagine. Talking about the biggest change that he would like to see is to have really clear pathways on how they validate and accredit technologies in a clinical setting, in an NHS setting, trying to make clearer how people can access the clinical samples or clinical data, and how they are at a very early stage where they can build an understanding of the national health and other clinical workflows, and how they can then work with the regulators to get new diagnostics and medicines approved. I would like to think that those things will become not just easier, but seamless. So the head of innovation, the head of technology and transfer business development at Wellcome Sanger Institute, Adrian, take a read of this article at Pharmaceutical Technology when you have time. Over on the cambridgenetwork.co.uk, they were talking about genomic engineering and what kind of solutions it can offer to endemic viral diseases and livestock emissions. So right now they are using medicine, they're using pharmaceuticals and drugs to try and curb and stop disease and find solutions for disease in animals. Professor Sang explains that the use of genetic engineering has the potential to be much safer and more effective means of disease control in livestock. In China, there are over 5 billion chickens currently raised. The management for bird flu is to use antiviral drugs.
The old chickens on steroids, baby.
I want to show you that this is for real as well. Over in the UK, this is bioindustry.org. So Lord Pryor, this guy is the chair of NHS England. Mr. Lord Baron Pryor of Brampton. Lord Pryor said that genomic technologies have the power to transform patients' lives by providing early diagnosis and personalized treatments, even preventing ill health from developing in the first place. So the NHS is introducing the world's first genomics medicine service, and they're going to use cutting-edge technologies, many of which are being developed by innovative companies here in the UK, and they're going to embed this and put this as part of routine NHS standard of care. Working together to harness the power of UK genomics ecosystem, they're going to continually improve how they fight disease for the benefit of NHS patients. Imagine the Sapphire becoming a routine part of NHS standard of care. There's literally billions and billions going into UK genomics. So guys, tell me your thoughts and feelings. Let's see how Bionanogenomics is doing today. Looks like it opened at $5.45. Remember, lots of the institutions have actually averaged up and their average price is $7.70 for Bionanogenomics. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on how you think Bionanogenomics is going to develop as a business. And if you're able to support the channel, please click the join button above my head. You can select any tier. And if you'd like to send any donations, feel free to. It's just in my description box. But if you're unable to, I love and appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much for always supporting me. Thank you for dropping me comments. Thank you for hitting the like and clicking subscribe, and I'ma see you in the next video. Always remember, none of this is financial advice, it's for entertainment only, and I'll catch you next time. I got some juicy ones for you. Mr. Investor, over and out, baby.